Good morning, everybody. Had a very good night with the kids. Babies are both in the bed, and I think Agita is under the bed or in this room somewhere, or in the living room. So I'm just going to get up, and give the kids some treats. And then later today she's not there. She's around here somewhere. But later today is Agita's vet visit. So we'll deal with that when we get to it. Anyway, day 5 clear. This is a day after I posted the latest podcast. Bye for now. Agita's right there, the perch. So we got Agita there, baby's there. I managed to get Agita into her thing. She was sitting in the living room. I put on my thick coat so that my arms didn't get bit because I don't have bite gloves. So, but I got her by surprise. She wasn't expecting it. And I just held her like that and I put her right in the case and zipped. I had it all ready with the sides zipped up. And now the boys, they're running around because they think that maybe they have to go to the vet too, or we're going to the house, or we're going. But kids, it's your sister's vet visit. Everything will be fine. We'll be back in a couple of hours. And the other one, I think he's gone under the bed because he's got the other baby under the bed. Because you don't have to go to the vet today, sweetheart. Everything's fine. It's just your sister. It's her vet visit today, and we'll be back soon. Don't worry. You know, you guys are very fond of your sister. She'll be back to bully you in just a few hours. So anyway, both the babies are sitting there very, very calmly. A little bit of, yes, she's complaining, sweetheart. Yes, I know. But this is just Agita. This is not Cordiva. This is not Cordiva. This is Agita. You'll hear Cordiva at the vets. That's boys are. One is on the bed, still maintaining social distance, even though quite safe with the geezer in the case, and one is down there. So I'm just putting on my shoes and socks, and okay, sweetie, it's the vet visit. Yeah, I know, you're not happy about it. Trust me, the vet's going to be more unhappy than you are when you're in full possessed mode at the vets. But for now, this is just a Agita, just being a regular Agita, just crying, you know. When we get to the vet, it's going to be very different. Anyway, but I don't have to worry about it. The vet can deal with it. Bye for now. Hello, everybody. We're here at our vets, and I just talked to the tech and gave the information, and she said, and I said, yeah, everything's fine, just some knots, and, she's just bullying her brothers, but that's just her being her. And, if they can get some of the knots, fine. I said, as long as you don't risk your own life and limbs, but if you can remove some of the knots, particularly at the back area, because that can cause a problem with going to the bathroom, and then you got poo sticking and stuff like that. So she's been amazingly good. I mean, it's probably April Fool's Day, so that's why she hasn't been Cordiva. She's been Agita. She's not been possessed because I got her very quickly at home and without her realizing what was going on. And she's been very good in the car. Just a little bit of crying. I mean, she's behaving here like her brothers do, just being very docile. Now, it's going to completely change when they try to take her out. When they try to take her out, there's going to be up there, there's going to be hissing and howling, and we're going to trigger Cordiva. So, I don't know if he wants me in. Last time he didn't want me in the room because he thought it might make it worse. But I don't think it makes any difference whatsoever. So anyway, well, either way, Cordiva is going to surface. So, her altar. So anyway, let's see. I talked to the vet, and, he knows. This is not his first rodeo, as they say. So he says, we'll do what we can. And I said, just stay safe, try not to lose any fingers. And we talked about, her personality, all of that stuff. Now, I was going to wait in the front area, but there's a little dog there, and you know how I feel about dogs, So, but anyway, we're going to hear the screaming from here. We're just waiting outside because it's so nice, and this way I don't have to hear the Cordiva howling and screaming. It's bound to be going on inside. There's no coffee shop or anything in here. It's like, it's way out there. Life it is. Having a mama burger with a beyond vegetarian patty. There's a Mama Burger was supposed to be on a big sale, but I don't think it applies to the vegetarian patty. But it's actually quite good. I get onion rings for a change. And Agita settled very nicely. I got some churro for her, but she's sitting so nicely that I'll give her the churro later while I'm eating, you know. And from here, I might have a little drive, you know, since she's enjoying this. And we have a little father-daughter bonding time. So just a little drive, maybe you could have good 10 minutes. And then back to the brothers will be waiting for their sister. They're really very fond of her. Anyway, so far so good. I just hope that her thyroid thing is okay, you know. They're going to do the test because she's losing weight, and he thinks that's normal as you're aging, as your cats. I think my father had thyroid issues too. He was taking thyroid medication. So anyway, let's see how that goes. And giving her medication twice a day, but he says I can mix it with the food, like liquid. So we'll have to see how it goes. So, yeah. Anyway, so far so good. The visit was a lot less traumatic than usual. Bye for now. And babies are here. I'm just about to let you out, sweetie. Because look, your brothers are here to welcome you home. They've missed you. Now, don't chase them. First thing you need to do is not chase your brothers. That would be nice. We had a very nice drive. Agita settled very nicely in the car next to me, and we just had a little drive. Just went up towards Barry, turned around, and came back. And I had, you know, coffee and stuff from Tim Hortons. Nice drive, you know. And, just enjoyed being with Agita in the car. A couple of months ago, I enjoyed the drive with the boys in the car all the way to the house and back, you know. So I do enjoy. The sooner he gets my house ready, the better. Oh, it's taking years and years and years and years. Oh, shit. I've given up trying to push him now at this point. Just kind of given up. But, you know, the sooner he gets that house done, the better. Anyway, that's what's happening. We're home. You know. Now, I just hope that Agita is going to be okay with the thyroid thing. She is losing weight, and he thinks that, you know, it's thyroid. It's apparently a normal thing in aging cats. So I might have to put her on medication. It'll not be fun, but I could probably mix it in with the food. So anyway, you know, I don't know if it affects, maybe that's what's affecting her personality. Maybe she's making a little bit more. No, I don't think so. She's been unfriendly from the very start. You know? Anyway, it was a good vet. She relatively, for her, she really behaved herself at the vets, which is quite amazing. Anyway, bye for now. There's minimal. There was some snarling, hissing, attempting to bite, but minimal for her. Bye for now. Hello, everybody. We had a good night with babies on the bed, and most of the night. And Agita nearby. She was in the hall. And in the morning, where is she? In the morning, Agita was on the bed, and the babies were here nearby, and Agita didn't even hiss or growl when she saw that one of her brothers is sitting in her case. And now she just came and took another look, and she's like going, okay, and then she went back that way. I am a bit worried about her. And when I told my friend yesterday that the vet managed to take blood from, drew blood from Agita quite easily for the sample, she told her husband, and her husband goes, oh, I think you made a mistake. It must have been Agita drew blood from the vet. I said, no. So I think that, you know, I'm a little worried, but he thinks it's thyroid, because she is eating a lot, but her weight is going down. And he said thyroid issues are fairly common in older cats. It's not an uncommon thing. So we're just waiting for the blood results. It means I'll have to medicate her twice a day, which is, you know, I have to mix it in her food. She loves her food. So, and, you know, she's, so we'll have to see. I am a little worried. Yes, I am a little worried. I am, you know. There she is. She's coming back to, yes, she is coming to annoy her brother. She is. So that's more like Agita. She's being herself, you know. So anyway, I'm going to feed the kids. I'm a little worried now, you know. But if it's just thyroid, I don't think that's that big a deal. I mean, I think, remember my father has thyroid issues too. You know, he's not in the country now, but I do know he takes thyroid medication every day. It was kind of difficult. I remember it was difficult medicating him too, So it's like, I guess it's a Rashid family thing. So anyway, but I'm going to feed the kids. Yes, sweetheart, I hope you're okay. If it's just thyroid stuff, we'll manage. It's not. She does seem a little, she does seem a little not quite herself. She's not attacking her brothers as much as usual. I guess after yesterday's vet visit and everything, and oh well, we'll see how it goes. And then meanwhile, it's the other positive news is positive news in the sense that yesterday's vet visit did go pretty well, and if it's just thyroid issues with Agita, that's as far as I can tell, that's not a big deal. It's just medication. Which might be a bit of an issue, but we'll deal with it, But the other positive news is I have made 6 days, it's going to be 7 days tomorrow, and I guess all of this is a distraction, taking Agita to the vet, and now possibly having to medicate her with thyroid medications. A little later, and everybody's having they seem to like today's flavors, and Agita's enjoying their, like I told the vet, she does eat a lot. So the fact that she is losing weight, it does make me think that he could be right. It could be like a thyroid problem. But hopefully, easily fixed. And she likes her food so much that might be doable just to mix, especially if you have like a sort of a liquidy food like this, and then mix in the medication with it and then stir it up. And, so she doesn't taste the medication. She'll eat it. So let's just see. Let's see what the blood results are first. So today I think I'm going to make a morning journal entry and go out for lunch. I haven't had a proper lunch out except in last week I did. Okay, I did on Thursday. But except for the casino and then the casino and the Sunday. But a non-casino lunch, and I do want to go to PetSmart. I want to get some good flavors for the kids. And there's a little bit left here, which I'm pretty sure Agita will come and eat because she is really eating a lot. Everybody, I'm here at a new discovery. This is a Thai restaurant on Lakeshore. Towards Mississauga, and this is where I go. There's at a sushi place I go to just across the road. So I came here a long time ago. It was also set up differently. It was small, but they didn't have this wall, and it was different owners. Now it's become Indian and Thai, and very nice people. I think it's the husband and wife, and I think the wife is the chef, and the wife I think is Malaysian. So she does both Thai and Indian food. So they've got like a Thai menu, and they've got a Thai Malaysian menu, and they've got an Indian menu. And they have lunch specials. There are 3 types of shrimp dishes. You can get, I think, cashew shrimp, yellow shrimp, or basil shrimp. And I asked him which is the spiciest, and he said we could do, and then I said, look, just tell your wife, surprise me. Whichever is the spiciest shrimp dish that she has on the lunch menu. This is very spicy. We talked about my spice levels. It's handleable. It's tasty. There's a lot of green chilies in here, but it's hot. I've got a burn, but it's a good burn. It's a good burn. And I told him, I said, maybe if you're feeling adventurous, I can go try one more level up from this. But this level is actually just, it's hot. Right, it's kind of at my limit, but it's very good. I'm enjoying the burn. I got Coke there. The spring roll might actually cool things down a little bit. I put some of the sweet sauce on it, but the food is very good. So I'm going to try all the different lunch specials. I'm going to get Indian food also in the evening, vindaloo shrimp, stuff like that. And I just told him I'm going to give him a good Google review. So the food is very good. Very good. So I have no problems with this. So it's a good discovery, and it's reasonable. I mean, you got the spring rolls and the Coke and the lunch thing, whichever curry you go for, and it's like $16, just tax and tips. So for $20-something, you get a very good meal. And so I'm very happy with it. Bye for now. It's so good, actually. It's very spicy but tasty. It's so good, actually, that I saved. Okay, I'm done. Yeah, everybody, here I am in the Mini. 1 second, I'm going to put this the phone in the holder. Okay, I was going to point the thing towards me so you can see me eating the ice cream, but I don't know if I want to show myself too much, so I'm just going to eat ice cream on top. Now, the lunch got interesting because I really liked the food. I had a little bit left over, which I packed just so I can have it with my supper in the evening because it was so good and so spicy, but good spicy. So I ended up talking to the owner a little bit, to them, and I gave him a Nutty Professor card, and I said, I taped a little bit here. I said the footage is going to be in the next podcast on Sunday night, and I ended up, I said, I always do this when I give a random person a card and I say, if you want to check out the podcast, just to kind of warn them. I go, it's not just going to be a restaurant review. I said, there's also, some personal stuff because I'm struggling with addictions. And he goes, oh, what addictions? I started, and you know me, I don't hold back. I'm like, somebody asks and they want to know. So, and he had worked in casinos before, in restaurants, I think. So he said, I've seen how addictive gambling can be and compulsive, and people lose everything. So I said, well, I'm using gambling as a controlled bird compared to the other things. I talked a little bit about slithering and puttying and the different kinds of puttying, and he was sort of interested, and I even told him about Carrie Fisher. Now, the whole thing is, I don't mind, I'm willing. Remember in much earlier podcasts, like 4 years ago, 285 podcasts ago, I had said that I'm doing the podcast and the writing and everything else for 3 groups. I came across, there was an asshole artist I met some years ago in the country, just when I'd started, partying again, and he got all holier than thou, and he thinks he's left-wing, but he's really a fascist. He's left and right are the same, and he's not a very good artist. But and he he's kind of seeking approval from everyone for his art. And he goes, oh, look at this painting! He drags him into the house and he shows, and he's not, it doesn't really sell. And when I shared some of my writing with him, and he said, I won't discuss your writing with you because it is providing approval for you, and I sense that providing approval for you will just increase your addiction, take you down the road to that final destination on the path. We all know what the final, and you know, and I know this is what is happening, and you know, and I know, and I go, this is the truth, what I'm telling you, and I go, this is your truth, asshole, and I said, I think I replied, you sent me a really stupid email, and I think I don't know if I bothered replying, going, truth is, you are actually an asshole, so, but he was like going, I won't give you sympathy, and I won't read any of your writing or discuss it because you're seeking approval, and that is going to lead you into the addiction and to death. Well, that was 10 years ago, so I'm still kicking. It's true, and the addiction, the issues are not simple, but they have escalated. I'm not saying that they haven't, but I'm still around, and I'm doing the podcast now. And when I first started the podcast, I said, I'm doing this actually, and he said, it was really pompous, asshole, and he was like he said in that email, I think, which I found again. I was looking through some of my old writings, and I found it, because I pasted it in my reply to him, which I never actually sent him. But he was like going, yeah, you can keep writing for the other addicts to try to help them, but it's of no interest to me. And I'm like, fuck you, asshole. Now, when I first started my, I kind of wish I had actually said that to him because he's a piece of shit, And I have actually ended up, severing ties with other people over the years, former friends, to a certain degree, even the analyst, who I felt were being judgmental, Now, I do judge myself. That's just sort of a different thing, but up to a point. But I have cut, and he was the most judgmental. He was one of these people who thinks he's like an anti-fascist, but he's a huge fascist himself. There was another person who I cut ties with out there who was very right-wing, super, ultra-conservative Trumpian supporter, and he was actually preferable to the less fascist than the so-called left-wing guy. And I've said that before in podcasts, left and right and all of that, passive opposites. But when I first started the podcasts, I said, I'm doing these for 3 groups of people.
Mainly for myself, of course, and asshole artist was like going, yeah, you can do them for yourself to see the patterns to help you stop. And there's a certain element of that, yeah, he wasn't too far off the mark. There was one aspect of it is that, when I do the podcast, when I do the writing, he was talking about the writing because I wasn't doing podcasting. But there's one aspect is, I can see the changes and I can see the progressions over the last 8 years, 10 years, and I can see, the patterns, But I had said in the very first podcast that, look, difference between me and the 12 steppers and all these, I'm not telling anyone to turn back. I've got this, the so-called strugglers, turning back strugglers and non-turning back strugglers. I will never tell anyone to stop, It's like, if that's your path and you know where it's going and it may take you to that final destination. But, as I said to my analyst too, when he said, you keep doing this, you're going to die. I just said, analyst, we all die. Everybody dies sooner or later, So, and he goes, yeah, but I don't want it to be sooner for you. And I go, yeah, I prefer it not to be sooner either, But, because I've got the list, I got the kids, and I want to publish my work for the other people who party, the people who are turning back, and they might learn something, they might not, but that's not why I do it. I don't do the writing, I don't do the podcast only to help people who are struggling with addiction to stop. I mean, there might be one or two who, and I keep telling people, don't do what I'm doing. The controlled burn, the casino thing, that's very dangerous. Don't try that at home. That's something that I'm doing, So what I'm doing for myself. I'm testing what works, what doesn't work. I'm in a position where I don't have any kids. I'm not married. I have really no contact with relatives. Relatives, twice a year I see, I have email and text contact with friends, and I have my kids, So the biggest pushes I have are my kids, and wanting to eventually publish my work with some of these details that I'm holding back here. So those are my pushes, and I do want to try to, I don't want to reach that final destination too soon if I can help it. Which is why I do the, I do the controlled burns, and I do the podcast, and I pull the tarot cards, and I do this and I do that, and I try to slow it down at least, So I'm not a daily user yet, and but I had said at the very beginning, I do these podcasts I wanted to do them for 3 groups of people, well, for myself first and foremost, but also for the strugglers who are want to turn back, but and I'm not saying do what I do, but I'm just saying this is what I'm doing, and this is what's working for me, and this is not what's not working for me. It's personalized. You want to try something, you come up with what works for you. You can see what doesn't work for me and what works and whatever. If it helps you, fine. If it doesn't help you, fine. And I'm also doing it for the people who are not turning back. I have no intention of turning back, because nobody really has written about that world or talked about the world, at least for me, completely non-judgmentally, or as non-judgmentally as possible. It's always, you should stop, or I have stopped. Look, I was a bad junkie, and now I've stopped, and now I'm clean, and this is, and you should get clean too, and you see celebrities doing this kind of stuff. Well, one of the few people who didn't was Carrie Fisher, and unfortunately she did reach that final destination earlier than she should have, but she pretty much knew what she was doing, and she was very open about her bipolar and about her addictions, She wrote about it, but Postcards from the Edge, all of that stuff. She was very open. And then William S. Burroughs, who I keep talking about, was very non-judgmental about his drug use and the fact he accidentally killed his wife while high and stuff like that, which I haven't done. I haven't killed a wife or anyone, So that's the whole thing. I wanted to do it for the people who may be struggling, may want to stop, maybe see what works for me, what doesn't work for me, and also the people who don't want to, because nobody really writes. It's a very interesting world. Very interesting world, and I and the Dusty Dumpster and Weasels, and the slithering and the stuff that I hold back from here. Very interesting stories, the junkie stories, which I hope to publish someday, and I just how strong people the daily strugglers are, you know. And I will never tell anyone to turn back, never, you know. So I'm trying to turn back for my reasons, you know, to at least slow down, you know. But I want to share these stories, and one of the reasons I'm slowing down, I want to slow down, is I want to get the stories out there, the stuff I cannot talk about here. So that's and then I also wanted to do it for the non-partiers, the non-addicts, you know, the civilians, not the asshole artist person, because he doesn't care. He goes, oh, they're bad junkies, you know, I don't want to hear about it, you know. But for the people who are a little bit more open-minded and who don't party themselves, but find the world, they find it interesting, you know. And I think that the restaurant owner today, he's one of those, because he doesn't. He's a straight, you know. He doesn't gamble. He doesn't do, you know, substances or anything like that. But he's curious about the world, and he saw gamblers, and he goes, oh, I know how what it's like. I've seen them. And he goes, you know, he says, I always want to learn what, you know, and I want to hear the different types of party, and what why you do it, and how it goes, and how, you know, and what works and what doesn't work for you. He goes, I'm curious. So I said, in that case, watch the podcast. I said, I don't give the details. I said, in the podcast, I talk generally, and if he sees this, you know, hopefully he will see the podcast posted Sunday night. I want him to see this, because I you know, I talk generally. I gave him more details. I told him, well, party hard means this, and party soft means that, and slithering is this, is my word, but it's this, and this is this, and this is how I started, and this is what got me into it, and this is how I progressed. I told him all of that, you know, which is all of my writing. So anyway, that was very interesting. It kind of helped me to you know, when somebody was interested, not for approval, but just for the sake of, and he said that. He said, it's very unusual to find somebody from sort of the first generation Indian background who explores these kind of things. Second, third generation maybe, but the first generation Indian background, you don't see a lot of people who kind of open to, you know, exploration of various things, you know. I go, yeah, I've explored everything, the gambling and the slithering, and he said, everything. He said, you haven't left much out. I go, no. I said, gambling and substances and partying and slithering. I said, everything, you know, you name it, I've experimented with it. So it was kind of funny, you know? I enjoyed it, you know. And yeah, if he finds it interesting, entertaining, informative, then I'm like, it's not a promo, but it's like, okay, there's some, you know, there's sort of a purpose to this, you know, in terms of I can go there. I have gone there. I have sort of the resources to go there and not become a daily user and come back and report, you know, but non-judgmentally, not saying, I would not tell anybody else to do it, to get started, never. You know, that I wouldn't do, because, you know, some people can maybe party in moderation, some not, but you have to find that out for yourself, and I would never tell anyone. I'd say it's better not to go on the path if you can help it, because particularly if you're addictive. If you're addictive and you go on the path, and then you do want to stop, it's fucking difficult, you know. But if you're there and you're not turning back, I say, go for it. It's your life, you know. I will not judge you. So anyway, I've ranted enough. Bye for now. I'm eating my ice cream, you know, and then I'm going to PetSmart and then back to the kids. So that was good. I enjoyed that. I might even do a whole podcast, just put this and a couple of things together and make that like a part one, because I want to include this whole rant, you know. This is and I enjoyed meeting so this is a group 3 person. They're the one who is not struggling, either turning back struggler or not turning back struggler. This is the civilian, you know, who's just kind of curious, you know, what's that underworld like, you know. And there's very fascinating people there and very fascinating things, you know. So, you know, I enjoy talking about it, you know. So, bye for now. I haven't even taken off my coat, and one of the babies is there. Agita very nicely settled there. And one of the babies very nicely settled there. And on the way back, I did go to, after ice cream, I did go to PetSmart, of course, and you get a whole bunch of cans of cat food and pouches and stuff like that, obviously. I always do. When do I not, you know? So we get pouches and we get churros and we get all kinds of things in there. Cans, I think. So we got cat food. And then I stopped at Sobeys and I get some frozen foods, you know? Some frozen foods and some gobi, because I got the leftover very spicy shrimp just a few, just a little bit, but it's very spicy, very good. So I'm just going to fry some gobi and have that with some rice, you know. It's going to be my supper. So, and then it's supposed to be like a big snowstorm coming. Everybody, it's now the next day. We've got Agita there, and we've got one of the babies there, and we've got the other baby there by the chair. Now, the news is, I got a text from the vet's clinic this morning saying Agita's test results, blood test results came in, and they showed no abnormalities. And I was really happy about that because I was worried, you know, and at the very least I thought it was going to be the thyroid thing and have to give thyroid meds twice a day with food. And now, I didn't talk to the vet, so I left a message asking the vet to call me to explain why to possibly explain why she's lost weight. Sweetheart, no, there's food up here. No, you don't eat veggie burgers. Come, or veggie sausages. Come. You just had your own breakfast. It's probably better than my breakfast. That's my breakfast: an egg, veggie sausages, and a stale hamburger bun. So your breakfast was considerably nicer. It was one of those catted things, and there was some nice gourmet food and everything. So now, so I sent a thing to my text to my cat rescuer, local cat rescuer friend, saying, you know, she knew I was worried. I said, you know, the results show no abnormalities in the blood, and she said, oh, weren't you giving the boys some reduced calorie food? And I'm going, yeah, I forgot to mention that to the vet. Is that in addition to the wet food, we give dry food, and I'm giving this. This is the lighter, and I switched the boys to it because, and I can't, you know, they all eat from the same bowls. So Agita is also getting the calorie reduced food, and it's light. It's, I think this one is 20% less calories. And but you know, she lost a kilogram, 2 pounds over the course of a year. But then this is the calorie reduced. Sweetheart, there's no need for you to jump up. This is the calorie reduced food. Plus, she's getting older. And I guess she's getting exercise and chasing her brothers around, chasing them under the chairs. Well, I had my own breakfast, and Agita just chased one of her brothers in the chair, which kind of makes me a little relieved because she's back to normal. Maybe she was just subdued because of the whole vet visit. Really seems to be back to normal. I took her some toys, and Agita wants to play with all of them and not let her brothers play, and she's been chasing her brothers, so I think everything is completely back to normal. Agita is entirely herself again. It's sort of a relief to all of us, I think, including the babies. Now, listen, sweetheart. Just because you're feeling better, it doesn't mean you have to chase your brothers. Your brothers are like, they're going, oh, that's the sister we love. She's chasing us and attacking us, and everything's back to normal. She's feeling much better. Things are back to normal because Agita was very nicely settled there, very comfortably. And one of the brothers, I'm looking at you all. Where are you? That one, whichever one you are, that one went, and for no reason, she's sitting, sleeping here very, very nicely, and he climbs up on here, and he's going like this, trying to play with his sister, knowing what her personality is, knowing how she's going to react. And I heard screaming and hissing and howling, and you know, so I came, and then the other one is just sitting and watching. It's entertainment. This is their entertainment. This is how they entertain themselves, the boys. Hello, everybody. We've got Agita there, and we've got one of the babies there, and we've got the other baby there, sitting in my t-shirt on the bed. And it's a few hours later, I heard from the vet, and he agrees with me that Agita's, weight could be going down because she's eating the same calorie-reduced food as her brothers. Plus, she's getting exercise, chasing her brothers around. Plus, she's getting older. She's aging. So he wants me to try to give her some senior dry food, but not let the babies eat it, which is so maybe occasionally I'll get a small bag and of the food he recommends and keep it in here when Agita is in here with the door shut. But when the babies come in, I'll just remove the senior food. So and if Agita eats some of their calorie reduced food, that's okay, you know. Because basically that whole thing with her thyroid is okay. The blood, that was what we were worried about. Thyroid is okay, and all the other values were okay. Everything was fine. He just, preventative. He goes for longer term. It may be better for her to get some of the, the senior food, which might be better for the kidneys in the longer run. So, but for now, everything is fine. The kidney values are fine. They're within range for her age. So everything is fine. So that was a bit of a scare, and, to a certain degree, the scare, being worried about Agita, it did kind of, work as a push, because, I was really worried about her, and now I'm just so relieved. I'm like, so right now the priority is just looking after the kids, and, writing, and, the usual pushes and all of that stuff, and just appreciating sober family time for now. The cravings will be back very strong sooner probably rather than later, but for now, and I don't even want to say pulls are lower, because every time I say that, and I've discussed this with my out-of-province friend, every time I say that, the pulls go up. So, we had quite a bit of stuff happening in the week. We had the minor slither a week ago, which kind of got short, in a way. I mean, it was in my benefit. It was circumstances out of my control. But and then the pulls were lower for a little while, and then they went up a bit on the weekend. And then they went down a bit because I was busy, distracted with taking Agita for the vet and, all of that stuff. And afterwards, I was a bit worried about her because she was almost being nice to her brothers, which is uncharacteristic. So I was kind of worried that she might not be feeling well. But she's been bullying her brothers again today. So everything is sort of back to normal. And there was a very interesting, very excellent lunch at the Thai Indian place, an unusual combination, and interesting conversation with the owner, and he was curious. I mean, you know me, I don't hold back, and I did mention, struggling with addictions when I gave him the link to the podcast, because I don't want to, civilians who expect to find a channel about food, and then they find me talking about addictions, So whenever I give a link to civilians I meet in a restaurant or something, I do warn them, and he was curious. He was very interested, He's not a partier himself, and he's, not a DDRW, but he was interested in the alternate, and he knows a bit about gambling because he worked in the casino, so he's seen really compulsive gamblers. So he knows a bit about that, but he was interested in the other things, He goes, oh, how do you get started, and what's this, and what does this word mean, and what does party mean, and so I was like, it was kind of funny. And then afterwards I ranted and raved because, he reminded me he was so open and willing to learn and, interested in the sort of subculture that, he's not a part of, but he finds interesting, compared to this asshole artist that I knew a long time ago, or stopped speaking to, so-called artist, I don't think he actually sells anything, very judgmental, and thinks he's left-wing, but he's really right-wing. So anyway, I ranted and raved about him, so I do want to include that. So that's why I'm probably going to post today, and I may post again on Sunday, or I'll post later in the week, or we'll see how it goes. But I've got a lot of material, so I'm going to edit and post. And if anybody watches it, fine. If they don't, that's fine. I do these mostly for myself, and I kind of want to include that rant because I did rant, and I want to include all the stuff about Agita and how happy I am that Agita is back to normal. She's being her usual unfriendly self, and her blood values and everything are fine. I was so relieved this morning when I heard they were fine. So that's what's happening. So from the four of us, so from Agita there, one baby there, and the other baby there, and myself, the nuttiest, craziest, most fucked up professor to ever walk the face of the earth. 1 week clear and counting. From my newsletter, but 1 week clear and counting. Bye for now. See you next podcast. Maybe on Sunday.